So FXalexg built such a strong personal brand that he made $40 million plus selling a trading course. And the funny part is he's been exposed by CoffeeZilla, he's got fraud charges, and honestly, I don't actually even think that his trading course is legit, but he's making the most money out of everybody in his space. And actually that quite intrigued me. So I pulled apart his entire brand, his Instagram, his YouTube, his Telegram, his sales page, everything, because I wanted to understand the actual mechanic behind his brand growth. And here's the thing, what I found isn't just about him posting his Lambos like other gurus. In fact, he's discovered something about attention most other brands haven't dialed in yet. And I'm going to expose that secret for you today so you can use the exact same tactics he's used to grow his brand in your brand. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Moayed and I've scaled my last business past 7 figures purely through crafting an authoritative personal brand. And now I work behind the scenes engineering the perception and content systems for personal brands, doing multiple 7 figures across all different types of industries. So when I break down someone's brand, I'm not just guessing, guys. I'm looking at it through the same diagnostic lens that I use on my clients. Let's get right into it. So just a bit of information about those of you that don't know who FXalexg is, because quite frankly, it doesn't really matter if you know him or not, but we're trying to take a look at how did he build his perception and his brand in a way that has made him so much flipping money. We're looking at 40 million plus from course sales alone. And I'm not even considering the fact that he also has sponsorships and like kind of brand deals with these brokers, prop firms, etc. So he's made even more than that. Now his course price point is at 1.5K, which is quite interesting, meaning that it's actually not really even a high ticket product in general. It's quite cheap. His community is 5.1 thousand people in school and 172,000 subscribers to his Telegram channel, which we're gonna go through in a second. Taking a look at his profile, his bio says, I teach people when it's the right time to click the buy or sell button and have a 60% win rate. Why I'm not even semi-interested in his bio and why it's a bad example to follow him is that when you're that big, and you've got so much people and everyone knows who FXalexg is, it doesn't even matter what you put in your bio. It's not optimized for conversion, to be honest, and it's not the highest perception bio, but it doesn't matter because the rules don't apply to you when you're so big. And that's the problem, is most people look at people when they're incredibly big, they try copy what they're doing now. You want to copy them when they blew up. This is the key to it. You want to look at what he did before he shot up, and we're going to break that down word for word just in a second. Taking a look at his positioning. His positioning was actually quite interesting. He was a Dunkin' Donuts employee, and he's eventually moved on to pink Bugattis, the purple Bugatti that he's had, which was, yeah, it's, to be honest, a typical rags to riches trading guru story. And it's a label shared by everyone. Like everyone kind of does the exact same thing. I was broke, I used to be a 9-to-5er, and this is how I ended up becoming a millionaire. But the thing about FXalexg, where he differentiated himself, his perception was different, is that, man, in his top of funnel content, he was doing crazy stuff. Streaking the Super Bowl, right, like naked. $6 million cars that he's crashing, Lamborghinis, crashed the flipping Bugatti, and he's using that to his advantage. And probably the amount of money that he's made just from crashing the Bugatti is probably worth more than the car itself. So for him, that's a serious ROI. And his whole thing is just about being incredibly reckless, attention hungry, and unapologetically loud. And this is his differentiation. This is his category design. He's picked something about himself and showed to the world that I'm the 23-year-old and I don't give a shit. I've got so much money that I don't necessarily even care about these Lamborghinis. I don't actually put value to them. And people like that. People like that because the step below him is people bought Lamborghinis, great, but they care about it. And when you show I've got so much and I don't care, that's when people are really, really, really interested. Moving on to his content areas, and this is really important because you see, he started out posting content, right? That was mostly raw documentation and interviews. Interviews with people such as Q Banks, interviews with people such as Swaggy C. These people were at the top of the industry, and he used this authoritative positioning by using these people within his content. When you show that you're with these authoritative figures within your content, you're borrowing their authority through association. And this is a really powerful method. So for those of you that haven't actually built authority, this is one of the best ways to do it, is show that you're in these rooms with these authoritative types of people. The lesson here was, before the cars and the stunts, he grew by interviewing traders who already had audiences. This is the oldest growth hack, by the way, in content, but most people skip it because it feels very, very slow. The next content era that he used was the lifestyle explosion, right, which was about the 2022 to 2024 phase. This is when he got the pink Bugatti, this is when he was streaking on the Super Bowl, etc., etc. And the lesson here is that he shifted from what I learned to look what the strategy has built me. Every car video, his mansion tours, the jet clips is an implicit ad for the course's outcome. He never needs to hard pitch anything because typically he's saying that this lifestyle that I have here was garnered through trading. So he's indirectly selling through his content. He doesn't even need to pitch you hard. In fact, if you look at his story sequences, there's no actual hard pitching done at all. It's all put through his lifestyle. Now, the Super Bowl streaking was really, really interesting because it adds the element of this guy is so unhinged and it creates curiosity at a massive scale. And only very few people can pull this off. But if you can pull it off, it can garner so much attention. Here's the interesting part about it though, is this only works when it comes to a B2C audience. They're less sophisticated and they really need to be entertained a lot. And typically also when you have a younger audience, which is who he's targeting is like 18 to 25-year-olds, these people thrive on this sort of a thing because they look up to this. They want to also do this exact same stuff. It's dopamine rush filled activities and this is the exact thing that they want to do. Whereas if you have a more sophisticated audience, such as a B2B audience, this is not going to work. Which is why it's really, really important when I speak to my clients is like, they just look at someone that they aspire, right? They aspire to be, and they just start making the content that they make as well. They copy them word for word, format for format. And it's like, you haven't done the research into your audience's beliefs. You haven't done the research into your audience's ideology, and you're making random content. And then you wonder, well, I'm making the exact same content as this guy. Why is my content not performing as good as him? And the reason is that you're making content not tailored towards your ICP, and you're making content at a different stage, because every stage and every level of fame that you have, for example, you make different types of content. It's totally different because now he's at the controversy scale. Like, he is trying to scale so hard through, once again, just massive pure broad attention. And the best way to do that is doubling down on the Super Bowl streak, which is why he did it a second time. And it's brought him serious ROI. And if you look, he's the set and forget, like his unique mechanism, his brand on his back. People are like, what the hell is set and forget? Or they look him up and now is brought attention to him. It's incredibly genius, by the way. Bigger car purchases. Instead of one Bugatti, he then has two Bugattis, right? And he's just more audacious as it goes. In fact, his whole thing now of battling Bugatti in like building the Bugatti. If you guys watch his content, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. You know, he's partnering up also with Matt Armstrong. His whole strategy is built just for attention at the moment, and it works really, really well. This is not going to work for 99% of people because 99% of people don't have that lifestyle. And if you don't have that extreme, because here's the thing, you need to be extreme in some sort of a way, in your own unique way, whether it's extremely personal, right? Extremely raw and vulnerable, extreme lifestyle. Like, you need to be able to make content tailored towards your ICP and their desires. And this is the exact desire of his ICP, which is why it's working really, really well. The tension here is that he's going to attract so much like non-ICP people that are not going to buy. But because he has so much share volume, that doesn't matter. He just needs like 0.5% of people to just buy. When we take a look at his content funnel right here, okay? He's got a lot of top of funnel content, right? So he focuses on top of funnel content that's, once again, unhinged, which is flipping, breaking his M3 G80 and putting a sunroof into the top, right? So his top of funnel is driven by aspiration, shock, and FOMO, not education. Super Bowl stunts, luxury cars, etc. This, once again, this only works because his ICP is young people and they respond to the output. They don't necessarily even care about the process. A more sophisticated audience would be repelled. He's not building the wrong funnel. He's building the perfect funnel for a specific buyer. And this is the point we spoke about earlier, right? Taking a look then at his middle of funnel content, right? He focuses a lot on belief shifting content. And this is the best type of content you can do is take a look at the state that they're currently in now, right? And belief shift them in a way to show them like, oh, that you actually can do this. Or, oh, you should actually have a specific or new perspective on this specific thing. And this is the best way to create middle of funnel content. Taking a look at the conversion machine. And typically the way it works is he's posting TikTok and IG Reels, which is like a lot of lifestyle stuff. People then get interested and they go to his IG profile, and his IG profile is a social proof wall, because that's what you want your IG profile to show. Is you want to build relatability and you want to show your lifestyle and your aspirations. Because if you're making a claim that you're rich, etc., and you can have them become rich, you need to show that as well. Obviously he's doing that incredibly well, right? And then and this is a nice thing, he's always doing launches, which is like always constantly some sort of a new launch. So typically what you'll notice with his type of content is that he posts a lot. Then on the story sequences where he does the nurturing, and then he sends you to some sort of a launch that he does, whether it's a new challenge, a new course, etc. And this is how he's making a lot of money, by the way. Constantly innovating, constantly launching new programs. And this works very well in the trading space because people tend to have very, very low success rates in that industry. And once again, their attention span is cooked. So in that, people like innovation, and every single time you come out with the new thing that's going to make them successful, people will buy into that straight away. Once again, it works for that ICP. Okay. He also has a Telegram, which is really powerful, especially for trading brands, is just having a Telegram, posting trade ideas. This is where you're doing all of your nurturing, right? And then eventually he's funneled all of that into his Discord. So you can take a look at this or screenshot it. The way that the profile is set up, nothing crazy, right? A lot of lifestyle, shows that trading did this, right? This is the type of content that you need to be posting. The interesting thing, once again, about it is that you need to have a mixture of content in your grid. And the mixture of content typically will be multiple different things, such as showing proof, right? Showing proof, which is his cars. Authority, building an authority of association, being with big streamers like Aiden Ross, for example, right? Old stories. So how he started, really, in fact, should be one of your pinned posts, right? Posts being with other people, really powerful type of posts. The main problem that people make when they're building their grid posts is they post just themselves in affluent settings all the time. But your grid needs to tell a story. It needs to tell what your interests are, what your lifestyle is like, right? It needs to tell your story, and you show different angles. So for me, for example, I can then show like, okay, I fight, I travel a lot, etc. So now I show that angle to my life. I show the fight inside of my life. I also show the angle of my lifestyle, me traveling, etc. I show me hosting masterminds, being with these being with my clientele, being with the people that my ICP respects. That's a very important point. If you can make content with people, right, that your ICP respects, your ICP will instantly also respect you as well, because you're borrowing that authority, you're borrowing that respect, okay? I think he can optimize this a little bit more, right? It can be optimized a little bit more. You get away with so much when you're this big. Like when you're as big as FXalexg in general, like you can get away with so much, right? So here in general, typically if I'm in B2B, I'm gonna just have a lot of highlight posts, just highlights in general of my clients. And why you do that is it essentially shows this guy has got so much flipping results. He's got so much results that he can't even keep it in one highlight tab. So he must have a lot of results, right? So this is the best way to do it. He also has, and once again, he can get away with it, but if someone like you, that you don't have as much followers as him, a lot of sources noted that his Instagram has very few posts that are actually like valuable. So his Instagram is fully top of funnel, whereas I actually recommend to have middle of funnel as well. It should be an ecosystem of different pieces of content, nurturing, inspiring, building value, etc. So the profile typically doesn't actually do the belief shifting work here on Instagram. He tends to send them to YouTube. This is where his more, this is where his more like valuable pieces of content, his education is actually there, right? Moving on to the perception signals. So the visual code here, and this is very important, is because when you're building a personal brand, you need to be consistent. You need to be consistent in your visual signals and what you're looking to show to people. And in this specific one, his whole vibe is new money. It's loud, proud, Miami flash. The palette of colors is Miami colors, high saturation, right? A lot of very funky colors. Someone like me, for example, I'm going for the more cinematic look. I'm going for the more beach vibe type of a look, warm tones. Or when it's winter time, I'm going for the darker tones. This is the vibe that I pick. You need to focus and build that aesthetic. And there's a video that I've uploaded on my YouTube channel as well. Shows you exactly how to build an aesthetic profile, why it's incredibly important, and optimize for conversion. Will make you so much more money. The settings as well. The settings should match the type of person that you are. So a lot of people, for example, tend to force the cigar look or the like old money look. A lot of people, but it's not. If that's not you, don't force it, because that's not actually what's making you the money. It's not what's that's not what it's converting. Because people can see the authenticity and rawness in what you do, and if you clearly, the energy isn't there when you're dressing a certain type of way or when you're a certain type of places, people will sense it. You'll be very surprised how people can sense so much through the camera and how natural that you are, which is why I tried to like force that vibe, and I just realized, hey, that's not me, which is why now I'm a lot more like, I'm recording here, I'm on the beach, this is my vibe. That's the type of person that I am, right? So I am literally within the setting that I'm in. And the nice thing about this is like you attract who you are. So if that's the settings that you track, you will attract the exact type of people that's into that vibe. And typically they will be the people that you enjoy working with the most. Because at the end of the day, it's like, if you're working with people just for the sake of the money, then what's the point? I work with people because I'm able to build connections with them, deepen the relationship, and actually have a good time doing it. Because the whole reason why I work on, work online and, I don't have the 9-to-5 job is that it's actually enjoyable. But if you're making it into something that becomes like a 9-to-5 and it's not enjoyable, then what the hell is the point? So most creators match their aesthetic to their price. Alex deliberately exceeds it. So it's like, his thing is like, look at my lifestyle. I've got Lambos and I'm so flipping rich, and I'm providing you with a 1.5K course. He's exceeding it. And this is where it's a perception signal that most people miss here. Because you think that, oh, someone like at his level, whether you believe in his trading abilities or not, I don't care, but someone at his level should charge you like a very, very high ticket $20,000 course. But he doesn't, which makes it even that much more desirable, right? So the archetype that once again, you need to also pick an archetype. And the archetype that he chose is that he's not a mentor, he's not a professor, he's not like a trading floor, like a kind of a trader. He's just the kid, he breaks rules, he's figured it out, and his life is proof of the results, okay? And once again, this perfectly attracts his ICP. The tone is also another thing that you, like the tone, the way that you deliver your message is something that you need to be constantly consistent in. A lot of people, for example, try to force the Andrew Tate style, where they're screaming at the camera. And it's like, you can just tell, bro, it's not natural to them, There's no point in forcing it. The best way to actually figure that out is record yourself speaking to friends. And the way that you speak to friends, or like speaking at a mastermind, for example, and you mimic that then, because that's your true natural tone. It's your true natural message delivery. And that's the best way to do it. So for him, it's like, he's casual, it's confident, it's very direct, but it's not academic. He speaks to you like he's your friend. He speaks to you like he's your friend, and he's just kind of trying to give you advice, help you out. But it's nothing like hardcore. He's not just going in on you, trying to like, yeah, change your life, all this. It doesn't work for this specific type of an ICP. Because they don't like to be given out to, because they've spent their whole lives being given out to, because they're the rebels, right? And that's why they're attracted to FXalexg, because they want to be able to do more of that. Here are some authority signals, right? So some great things that he's doing in his perception that's helping him out is constant wealth display. Once again, works for the ICP. ICP to ICP is different, as I said. Named framework, so he's a unique mechanism. Set and forget. You constantly, whenever you hear about set and forget, you will always associate it with him. He's showing his live sessions, his trading screen shares, specifically within his old content and his YouTube, right? Takes contrarian takes, shows you like that, you don't actually need to sit at screens all day when everyone else is showing that you actually do. You need to be on the trading floor, etc., etc. And he's showing specific numbers. Specific numbers and time frames are very, very important. Constantly showing results with very, very specific numbers helps in actually making people believe that your proof is legit, right? And that's what most people do incorrect, is they're very, very vague in their numbers. They're very vague in their timelines. And because everyone has these videos showing vague timelines, vague numbers, no one believes you anymore. So the more specific you are, the better that bottom of funnel content is going to land. The one thing though, in his weak signals though, which I think he can improve, is that he's no verified trade statements, which the verified results, like my FX books, etc., they work incredibly well. Very, very like powerful, right? He also has actually CFTC disclaimers, right? So he's got a lot of which is not great. Once again, he's so big, and it's just like people don't even care anymore, right? So, but this is not good. CoffeeZilla flagged him, right, for potentially simulated like demo accounts. A lot of motivation stuff, which once again he can get away with. But if you're like a trading coach, for example, or any coach, avoid the motivational stuff. I'm gonna say, if you're trying to make raw, authentic content, focus more on belief shifting or new perspectives. That's what you should do. Motivational, it's useless. Honestly, it's useless unless you're already at like a very, very high level, etc. So here's what's very interesting about this, by the way, is that through his different stages of content, right, the authority migration was interesting. The authority at the first stage was through authenticity. In the second stage, he showed authority through the lifestyle. And in the third stage, he showed the authority through the audacity. And this is very important for you to understand, because this is the thing that every single one of these gurus in general, or anyone that has a personal brand does, is their authority completely switches at every single stage, which is why it's never good to actually go and copy Alex Hormozi, because like Alex Hormozi has a totally different authority stage now. He doesn't even need to show proof, and he doesn't need to show, like, have you ever seen him show results, testimonials, etc.? No. But people take every word that he says as that's it, like that's the word. And once again, it's because like he's at a totally different authority stage. So if you're copying him and you're doing the exact same thing as him, it's totally useless, right? Some key principles that you guys can take and apply it into your own positioning, etc., is attention doesn't equal authority, but it does pay more. In a market where buyers are driven by aspiration rather than expertise, the creator who captures the most attention wins the most revenue, even if their authority is questioned. So FXalexg, proved this one, right? Framework always should have an identity. So if you ever have a specific framework, something that's different and it's interesting lens, always slap a proprietary name onto it. His one is set and forget right here, right? And then his hidden weapon, which is quite interesting. So for anyone that has like a low kind of, a more or less sophisticated audience, for example, it's interesting and quite actually useful to have free school communities, Discord communities, Telegram communities, do the nurturing within there. The conversion will really, really increase, right? And we've tested it out multiple times. The verdict, which is what he got right. Set and forget branding names, the transformation perfectly. Dunking donuts to Bugatti is one of the strongest origin stories in the space. Specific, visual, repeatable. He understood attention, precedes authority in his market. The Telegram channel is a warm audience factory at zero cost. Super Bowl stunts are the highest ROI marketing plays in Forex education history, which they really are. And then what he got wrong is, once again, just like the CFTC claims, there's no like actual real results of him. You know, you can't really see his results. You just see screenshots. But anybody that like is in the space knows that you can actually fake all of this sort of thing. So yeah, the one principle, guys, I want you to take from this whole thing, right? The one principle is attention is not authority, but in the right market, attention is actually worth more than anything else. So if you are within a similar industry, even like a fitness industry where you're just selling to like the majority of the public, attention is the key. B2B, it's different. You have to be a lot more specific and curated in your content. His trading legitimacy almost, to be honest, doesn't even matter at this point. And that's the most important thing to understand, is that the entire machine runs on lifestyle aspiration and narrative, not verifiable returns. $45 million in course revenue proves the perception of trading success is more commercially valuable than actual trading success. It's quite interesting. What you can steal from this episode: name the transformation, not the method. Set and forget sells freedom, not technical analysis, right? Build a warm audience channel with zero ad spend. 172,000 Telegram subscribers opted in for free trade ideas. So he gave them an incentive, then he sold to them after. Match your aesthetic to your ICP, not to what you want to look at. Not what you want to look as. And use your price point inversion deliberately. If your lifestyle signals $50 million, but your course costs 1.5K, the perceived value gap does your pricing objection handling here, because it's like, damn, this is so worth it already without even needing to be objection handled. Have a controversial response strategy before you need one. So Alex's defensive response to CoffeeZilla was a perception failure. If you operate in a very high risk industry like this, you need to have contingency plan for what happens if all of a sudden shit goes left. This is really important, right? And then the last thing is understand the attention versus authority trade-off. Attention-based businesses scale faster but are fragile. Authority-based businesses scale slower but survive scrutiny. Know which one you're building. If you need help with your personal brand and you need me to come in, audit it, see how we can improve it, and I'll do this completely for free, by the way, and I'll be the one to hop on the call, not my sales team. Simply just book a call with me down in the description below. I'll be happy to take a look at it for you.